Hi everyone, here's review sheet 3. Today's video will go through all the answers for the first page. So here we go. Alright, number 1, 6 is what percent of 40? Alright, two ways to do this. You could translate it. 6 is what percent of means times and then 40. So to solve this, you would divide by 40. You would get a decimal 0.15, so that's 15%, or you could do a proportion. What percent? We don't know the percent, so n over 100, and then remember is over of. So 6 is near is, that would be on top. 40 is near of, there you go. So cross multiply, 40n equals 600. Divide by 40 and you get the same answer, 15%. All right, number 2, if we had our calculators, we could just type this in, use the ABC button. The easiest thing to do when you have a whole number here is kind of borrow. So I'm going to knock that down to 7 and make it 3/3. So technically that still equals 8, but now it has a fraction next to it so I can subtract from it. So 7 minus 4 is 3. 3 minus 2 is 1. That's the quickest way to do that problem. All right. Number 3. In triangle FGH, the measure of angle G is 30 degrees and the measure of angle H is 100 degrees. What's the measure of angle F? Well, how many total degrees in a triangle? Hopefully you figured out 180. So we've got 30 plus 100, that's 130. So we would subtract that from 180 and get 50. All right, number 4. Sierra has 11.5 yards of fabric. She will use 20% of the fabric to make a flag. How many yards of fabric will she use? 20% is 0.20. Of is times 20% of the fabric, so of the 11.5 yards. You can use your calculator for that. It's getting 2.3 yards. All right. Number 5, reduce. If they're both even, I always divide by 2 and I just keep going. So I'm going to divide these both by 2, that's 40 and 48. Again, they're both even, so I'm going to divide by 2. If you can divide by something bigger, you will get there faster, but this is just always what I do. Divide by 2 again. I've got 10 over 12. One more time, 5 over 6. Yeah. Okay, number 6, an online service increased the price of downloading a song from $1.80 to $2.20. To the nearest whole percent, by how much did the price rise? This is a percent increase problem. And if you remember, there's a formula for this. It's difference over original. And that's just something you have to have memorized here, or look it up. What's the difference between $2.20 and $1.80? Difference means you're going to subtract these, so it's a 40-cent difference, so 0.40. Which price is the original? Where did it start at? It started at $1.80, so that's the original. You would type in 0.40 divided by 1.80, and it looks like you get 22.2. It says to the nearest whole percent. So that's about equal to a 22% increase. So they took 22% of the original and added it on, is what they're saying. All right. All right, number 7. Again, if we had our calculator, you could just use the ABC, but let's just practice for the fun of it. So you need a common denominator. I'm going with 15. So 3 times 5 gave me 15, so 1 times 5 is 5. 5 times 3 gave me 15, so 4 times 3 is 12. Ooh, bummer. 5 minus 12 we can't do, so we have to borrow. Knock the 4 down to a 3, and I'm really adding 15 fifteenths over. So 15 plus 5 is really 20. Now I can subtract. 3 minus 2 is 1. 20 minus 12 is 8. So 1 and 8 fifteenths. All right, number 8 looks simple. Remember PEMDAS, you have to use it all the time. So I'm actually going to divide here first. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 2 plus 2, you can do the parentheses. Now watch out. Don't do 1 plus 2 next. You have to do 2 times 4, which is 8, and your answer is 9. All right, good job, guys. Let's keep going here. Let me move this up. Number 9, solve and check, one of my favorites. Here we go. We're going to add 18. Negative 10 plus 18 is 8. Now this is C divided by 12. What's the opposite of dividing by 12? Multiplying by 12. 8 times 12, 96. And I'm going to fit the check over here, I guess. So copy original problem. Sub in your answer. So we think our answer is 96. Is this going to work? What's 96 divided by 12? That's 8. Does 8 minus 18 equal negative 10? Yes, it does. And boom, we get to check. All right, 10, probability. 2 socks are picked at random from 2 red socks and 8 blue socks. What is the probability that you will pick a red sock and then another red sock? Okay, in 2 different cases. With replacing, which means you put it back, and without. All right, so red, then red. Okay, well, what's the chance of picking a red first of all? There's 2 reds, so you have a 2 out of how many total socks are there? Looks like 10. So a 2 out of 10 chance on the first pick. Now on this side it says we're going to put it back. So then you still have a 2 out of 10 chance. So you have a 4 out of 100 chance. Can reduce that to 1 out of 25. Now what happens if you don't put it back? So red, then red. Well, the first pick is still 2 out of 10. Now if you pick the red, and you're supposed to assume you get it, now we have a red. There's only 1 red sock left and only 9 socks altogether. Now multiply this, it's 2 over 90. That's a 1 out of 45 chance. So what's 1 out of 25? I'm just curious. What's 1 out of 25 as a decimal? 1 out of 25. Oh yeah, 4%. We should have known that. And 1 out of 45, 1 divided by 45, is a 2% chance. I guess because you take it out, there's less a chance of the second one there. Write 3 3/4% as a fraction in lowest terms. The trick here, I know you're thinking it already is a fraction, but the trick here is that percent sign. So what does percent mean? It means out of 100. So really we're dealing with 3 3/4 out of 100. Actually, in this case, this is nice. 3/4 is 0.75. So 3.75 really divided by 100. And you could type that in, or you can just think about the zeros. 375 out of 100. It's really just moving the decimal point over twice. Oh, I'm sorry, it wants it as a fraction in lowest terms. Okay, well, we can use this. How do you read this correctly? That's the 10, 100, 1,000, that's to the 10,000 spot. So this is 375 over 10,000. That's the fraction they want. So we did have to get there. Then they want us to reduce that. Well, again, if you can kind of play with that calculator, this reduces all the way down to 3 out of 80. And if you typed in to check 3 over 80, you would get back to that. All right, nice. And number 12, Juan rolled a number cube labeled 1 through 6 4 times. Each time the number 3 appeared. If Juan rolls the number cube one more time, what's the probability that 3 will appear? Oh, this is trying to be mean. It actually doesn't matter what happened before. On a number cube, rolling a 3 is always a 1 out of 6 chance, no matter what happened before. All right, 13. 30% of 18 is what? You could translate 0.30 times 18. Just type that in. You get 5.4. If you like doing proportions better, that would be 30 out of 100 of 18. So the 18's on the bottom, and you don't know the top. That's 100x. 30 times 18 is 540. Divide by 100 and you get the same exact answer. Thank goodness. And the last one, the GCF of 14AB and 21B, the greatest common factor. So the greatest number that goes into both of these. Some of you can do that in your head. Awesome. Others, this is how we did it in school way back when. You break down the 14 to its prime factors. So 2 times 7. Remember, prime numbers can't be broken down again. It's just 2 times 1 is 2. 21 is 3 times 7. And it has the letter B. Then we would circle, if you remember, the things they had in common. And for the GCF, we would multiply those things together. So a circled 7 counts as a 7. A circled B counts as a B. There is your GCF, 7B. That's the biggest number that goes into both of those. And since they both have a B, that counts in the greatest common factor. All right, good job, guys. See you tomorrow for page 2.